Hi folks, this is the beginning of a new chapter in the GM Diaries because I'm getting ready to run a Duet D&D campaign. So if you aren't familiar with the term, a Duet D&D campaign or Duet D&D one-shot basically means that you have two people playing. You have the game master and then one player. I've heard a couple people say like you can have one or two players, but I really think about it as the like one-on-one, because even with two players, like that's a group. That's not, that's not a duo. This is a way of playing that has become more popular in the last about 5 years, I think. I think the pandemic especially really pushed the popularity of this because it allows for some flexibility. I think it's something that a lot of couples have really embraced. And I think it's also can be a great way to introduce new players to the hobby. Okay, so what are some of the reasons why someone might want to play a duet style game? First of all, it can be hard to find a group. Perhaps you just, in your area, you really want to do a game in person, not virtually. And in your area, maybe it's just really hard to find other people who want to game with you. Or maybe you do have other people who want to game with you, but trying to get everyone's schedules to line up has just been a nightmare. I know I've had that experience before where it's like, okay, I can get one other person's schedule to match up, but trying to get 3 people's schedules, 4, 5, 6 can be really complicated. This is also really great for couples. Perhaps you guys met because of the hobby. A lot of us have. Or it's something that you kind of discovered, whether it was one person already played and introduced another person to it, or you both discovered it kind of together. It can be really nice to sit down and use it kind of as a bonding moment, kind of like you can have at-home date nights and play together. And I know for me, like running a game for Ryan is kind of like a way of showing how much he matters to me. I know he really loves playing and getting that opportunity to play. So for me to put in the effort to put together something that he gets to play in one-on-one means quite a lot. Also for parents, as we have discovered with having a wee one, it can be very difficult to play in an ongoing campaign, especially if both of you want to play in it, because that requires either knowing you're going to need to host it and probably try and schedule it to like start after bedtime, which with toddlers can sometimes be like, oh yeah, it's consistent, it happens all the time. And some weeks it's like, who knows, might be down at 8, might be down at 10. Or you need to set up a regular babysitter, and that can get expensive or also just be difficult to have happen. So since our kid has been born, we've been playing in separate games. So we haven't gotten to game together, and I miss that. You also may choose to do a duet session, whether it's a fill-in session for an ongoing campaign. Maybe the rest of the group isn't available. Perhaps it's like around the holidays and most people are going out of town, but the game master and one other person isn't. I also think it's a really cool way of kind of like doing a modified like sessions, not quite session 0, session 0.5 with each player. That's something that Ryan actually did for his Starfinder campaign. He got on and did a very short session that had a little bit of combat and a couple of other things to help introduce the players to the Starfinder world, flesh out a couple of things. A few people may have made some changes to their characters after that session, but before the full campaign. So that can be a really cool way of like testing things out. And like I said earlier, I think also doing a duet style game can be a great way to introduce someone to the hobby. Maybe it's a loved one who is interested, but maybe doesn't want to necessarily commit to sitting down with a bunch of people they don't know and playing. Maybe it's somebody who is new to that system, whether it's a brand new player or just to that system, who maybe is a little self-conscious about the first time they play with that rule set, playing in front of a group of people that maybe are all veterans. And so wanting to get some experience playing it where maybe they're not feeling as pressured to like get everything right and figure it out, which you shouldn't have to feel that way. But I know some people might feel that way. So yeah, I think it can be a really great way to introduce new players with maybe a little less stress. Okay, so how am I approaching running a duet game? So when I kind of started getting the idea, I did a little bit of online searching and very quickly found D&D Duet. It's a website. I'll make sure to put a link to it. And Grove Guardian Press. And they have a bunch of little articles on some advice on how to do duet-style games, as well as they had just finished a successful Kickstarter for a collection of one-shots, some companions, and a full campaign. Right back right there. So I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing a duet style campaign. Would you have any interest in like sponsoring anything or having us review it? And they were very kind. They very kindly sent them over. So this video is not like officially sponsored, but we did get these review materials to get to play through, and we'll eventually have a full review video coming out probably after we've played at least the one shots and maybe a little bit of the campaign, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. So yeah, in addition to the campaign, they sent us a collection of 6 one-shots and then a adventuring companion, and I'm going to get into this in a little bit. So I'm actually going to start off with one of these one-shots. I think I'm going to do the Hardly Haunted Library. That is a duet adventure for PCs of level 1 to 2, and it has scaling tips through level 8. So I did like that a lot of these had like scaling, some flexibility of what level you played them, because in addition to being great one-shots just completely on their own, they seemed like they could also be kind of inserted into an existing campaign. Again, maybe you've got a session that most people can't make it, so you play one with just the game master and one of the players. I will say if you are going to do that, it doesn't work if you're doing like XP leveling, kind of, unless everybody gets a chance to do a duet game. So yeah, I'm going to start out with a one-shot. I figure that's a good way of figuring out like what are the differences between running a campaign with a group and running a campaign just for one person, or at least a game, a one-shot. See how I like it. This will also give Ryan a nice chance to kind of like test out his character, because, having only one player character in the campaign means that there might be some choices that he makes that might need to have like, okay, let's get you some magic items, or have a companion, or DMPC or GMPC, whatever term you want to use, to help balance for moments where it's like, okay, you picked somebody who is very combat heavy, but you don't have any healing capabilities. Okay, that might, have something that can help with filling in that gap that one character kind of can't really do. And then we'll be able to make adjustments and either jump straight into the full campaign, the Land of Vampires, which sounded fun and right up our alley, or do one of the other one-shots and, just kind of make a nice date night out of it. Also, that first one-shot seems there's not like multiple parts to it. It's pretty straightforward. So that seems very doable to get through after our kid is down in the evening, where it's not like, okay, we're going to get halfway through the one shot and just be like, it is 10 o'clock. We are both wiped out. And we aren't going to finish this tonight. So yeah, I think timing is going to be an interesting thing that I'm going to need to figure out for this, of how quickly Ryan gets through things versus a group, as well as maybe probably having a little bit shorter sessions, just one-on-one, it's going to be a lot more intense for both of us, as well as we're doing it like in the evening, so we've got a little bit shorter time window than when we used to like game all afternoon. A big thanks to all of our patrons, especially Arvi. If you enjoy what we do and want to help support us and get some cool perks along the way, head on over to patreon.com/rollforinitiative and become a patron today. So I think I'm also going to have a GMPC, or as they kind of refer to it, a companion, which actually their companion isn't like a full PC character. It's kind of finding the in-between between a full PC with like a full character sheet and like a sidekick that just uses like an NPC's stat block. So I think I'm going to kind of do that with these companions, which the companions they give kind of seem to be good. Like they fill in some abilities. There's some flexibility for backstory. And part of the reason I want to do that is that way I have a character that I get to play and talk to Ryan through, talk to his character. It's a nice way of giving the player character information that isn't just having a whole bunch of random NPCs show up. You know, also some balance, be able to provide some abilities that maybe his character doesn't have. Now, there are a couple different approaches to how you handle a extra character in a duet style game. You could have a sidekick type thing that the player character has full control over. They do all the role play, they handle all of the combat. That seems a little less fun to me. You can also have a fully controlled game master character where the game master does all of the role play and all of the combat and everything. I'm going to kind of go in the middle, and that's actually what Grove Guardian Press suggests with these companions, which is all of the roleplay and most of the exploration. I will be controlling it, but when we get to combat, I will hand over this kind of not just stat block, but not full character sheet, shortened version to Ryan to be able to make all of the combat choices. So the reason that I am doing this and think that this is going to work best for me is that then when we're in combat, I can focus on the adversaries. I can focus on the environment, all of the things that are going on. And then I'm not also trying to juggle this GM player character as well. It also means that I feel like I'm less likely to like metagame with that character of like, oh, well, I know what this creature is weak against, so I'm going to pick those attacks, or like purposely not pick them. It's going to avoid those things. And then also like if Ryan wants to, because this is probably going to be a little bit more of like a support character, he can help make choices that he knows is going to set his character up to shine. We'll try that out. I will update you, see how it goes after this one shot, if that is how I decide to do it for the campaign, or if I'm like, nope, a horrible idea. I'm going to control everything. I don't think I'm going to give Ryan the full like sidekick control, and also talking to him, he seemed less interested in that. He liked the idea of having a character that he gets to interact that I am kind of in control of, which is nice. So there you go. Those are my initial thoughts on deciding to dip our toes into Duet D&D. Have you tried any Duet games, whether it's D&D or any other system? I'd love to know how it went for you. Do you have any advice for me? Any things that worked wonderfully? Anything that I should avoid? Please leave them in the comments. And then also, you know, other commenters or people checking the comments can also learn from your experiences. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss the next installment in this GM diary. And I'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative. Bye. All right, battery died. All right, we fixed it.